To start, I was going to get you, if you wanted to introduce yourself for everyone watching, a little bit about your background. And I know the stuff you do with the Wikipedia stuff, or the, what do you guys call your, what do you call it
The
again?
Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia project.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah. So you
Okay,
want to
well,
talk a little bit about who you are and all that sort of stuff.
okay, well, my name is Susan Gerbic. I live in Salinas, California, and I am a skeptical junkie because I have been involved in the community for about, a little over 20 years. And over
Oh, wow.
time, I have developed a niche of being interested in psychic mediumship. About in 2013, I started putting together different stings to catch mediums doing things. So we try to use science, double blinding our stings. So it was no way possible that they could be doing it by chance. We put together various different mechanisms and double blinds, as I said. And in 2017, we did a sting that we called Operation Pizza Roll. And that was caught the attention of somebody who writes for the New York Times. And they needed to see me do a sting before that they would publish it for New York Times. So they watched me do a sting that we call Operation Peach Pit, and that was with Matt Frazier
Oh, yeah.
from Meet the
Hmm.
Frasers. And that was a sting that we did with somebody in the East Coast, with my team, some team members in the East Coast, and they went through the protocols that I had done for Operation Pizza Roll, which was Thomas John, the seatbelt psychic. And so in Seatbelt Psychic, Thomas John in Operation Pizza Roll, I'm sorry, I get them all confused. Pizza Roll, we caught him hot reading. There was just no way he wasn't hot reading because we set up fake Facebook pages, put
Yeah, was
fake.
that you guys? Because I saw a video like where you guys set up fake Facebook pages
Yeah,
and you're talking about cardiac problems and a
yes,
dog
that
that
was me.
died. And
Yes, that
okay,
was all.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
So that was Operation Pizza Roll. And so what happened is we caught him. And then, as I said, the New York Times wanted to actually send a reporter to watch. I mean, every detail. Watch me talk to the team members. Watch me plan. Watch how we created the Facebook pages. Everything. They watched our whole team do it. And then the reporter, whose name is Jack Hitt, he went to the Matt Fraser show with the people who were set up, the people who were going to be doing the sting, and he reported on it. So that made the New York Times, I think in 2018. It was in the magazine, which was a huge deal because it's really hard to get into the New York Times magazine. So we got a 3 or 4 pages, I think, spread. So we've done a lot of other things since, but nothing that's gotten the media coverage of that. So all of our stings are Operation something something, usually
Hmm.
food related.
Yeah.
And my partner and I did these together, and my partner was Mark Edward, who is a mentalist who wrote a book called Psychic Blues: Confessions of a Conflicted Medium. And he was, because he died in August just a few months ago. And Mark was he worked for the Psychic Friends Network for years. He was one of their
Oh,
top
really?
psychics. Yeah, he was one of their top
Oh,
psychics, and he did infomercials. And he was also a mentalist at the Magic Castle in Hollywood, which is very prestigious. He used to do seance there.
yeah.
Mark Edward was the person that they would hire whenever they had a TV show needed some expert opinion on psychics. And so
Oh,
he's done
okay.
a lot
Nice.
of TV
Okay.
shows. He did Penn and Teller, Bullshit.
Mm.
He
Hmm.
did Brain Games. He's done CBS Morning. He did The Con. He's done a lot of things. Adam Marine's Everything. He did that.
Mm.
He's done all kinds of different shows. So
Okay.
Mark, being a mentalist, is an expert on seance. He's written many books on seance. And all the time that he was working as a psychic, he was also on the board of Skeptic magazine. So what he was
Mm.
doing is he was getting the information on what's going on in the psychic world, and then he wrote a book on it called Psychic Blues. And I met him in 2009, and then I would already had an interest in psychic mediums, and I'm more of a planner,
Hmm.
and he was more of a doer in that he'd get right in the face of whoever it was we were after.
Hmm.
And so we've done a lot of different stings, but now since he's gone, and the last year or so, his health was really bad. So I've just completely taken over and I run everything. And well, now I have to, but I'm more interested now in the psychic mediums and the details of psychic mediums, what's actually going on, because people say that they're convinced, they believe, they report back saying, "Oh, well, he told me this thing." And then when
Mm-hmm.
you look at the transcripts or you listen to the audio, that's not what he said. He said something slightly like that, but that's not what he
Yeah,
said.
that's the
I'm very
sitter
interested in
misremembering. Yeah.
mediumship, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
very interested in the last year, I guess. I've been really interested in the mom and pop kind of psychics,
Mm-hmm.
the ones who are doing readings over Zoom with maybe
Mm-hmm.
15 or 20 people, and then
Right.
are they think they're speaking to fellow believers, and so they're more likely to give advice, medical, financial, legal advice,
Yeah.
which is
That's
really, really bad because these people are being manipulated. A lot of and they're almost all
mhm.
women. They're
Yeah.
almost all in grief or
Mm-hmm.
lonely. And so it's been really interesting to watch. So that's what I do. I mean, I'm busy in a lot of different avenues. It's not just the psychic world, but um, for the purposes of this interview, I'm sure that's probably all anybody might find interesting is the world I inhibit with psychic mediums. My channel is called Psychics Explained, and I get into the real weeds of the details of the readings. I take a reading and I go into extreme detail of what is going on. And then I have kind of a community, so people are able to participate and give me comments, things I don't see, they see. And I
Mm-hmm.
publish for Skeptical Inquirer, and I've been publishing for Skeptical Inquirer for a few years now. I'm a fellow for the Center for Inquiry, which is the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry. And
Mm-hmm.
I also received at least 2 awards from the James Randi Educational Foundation. James Randi.
Yeah. Your partner that passed, right?
Mhm.
Was he
Harper.
like running around as a psychic? Like was he telling people he was a psychic or was he like doing that undercover? Like what was his like thing that he was doing?
Well, he was a psychic. He pretended he was a psychic. So he did the same thing all the other people were doing, was pretending to be psychic, because he's
Okay.
in the company, and he used to go to spiritualist churches, and they would do, all kinds of stuff. He did what they did, but he said his what he says in his book is pretty much that when the doors close, he says everybody shuts off, and they all know that they're faking it. It's like, okay, everybody's gone.
Hmm.
Light up a joint. Let's go.
Right.
And they're like,
So
well, look what
like
I got this guy to do. And so everybody was pretending to be psychic. There's no instruction, no training. Not
mhm.
really any testing or anything like that. So that's what they do.
Did he like decide to come clean or something? Like what kind of led him down the path of doing the skeptic stuff?
He was always interested in skepticism because, as being a magician and a
Mhm.
mentalist, you want to know what is going on in the other hand. So they know how easily people can be fooled. So there's a lot of magicians in our community, and the scientific skepticism community,
Yeah,
including
they
James
make like
Randi.
the best debunkers, like
Oh my
honestly.
gosh,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
look for all
They
this.
know.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So they're really offended by people who claim to be psychics. And
Mhm.
once you start learning the tricks of the trade, like I've been immersed in for years, and I'm also very immersed in the mentalist world. So since I'm
Yeah,
kind
the
of in the
mentalist
magic
stuff is
mentalist world,
fascinating.
yeah, so I can see the tricks, and it's really hard
Mhm.
not to, you're watching it with a group of people, and they're all crying and believing it, and I'm going, I just saw what you did right there, dude. I mean, it's so obvious to me, but to other
Mhm.
people, they're being manipulated. And it's very hard because, as I said, they're mostly women. They're mostly women in grief, lonely, and they don't know any better. So
Mhm.
watching them being manipulated, and you feel like the psychic afterwards is just having a good laugh afterwards, going, ah,
I mean,
I
that's
got,
what Sylvia Brown used to apparently do. She would just laugh like with her husband or would be like, "Oh,
oh,
well,
yeah.
they're idiots. They deserve to be grifted for their money if they believe in this stuff, you know? Like they
Of
don't have
course.
respect for their clients at all.
No,
No.
it
No.
takes a certain kind of narcissism, I think, to be able to do a lot of this. Not all of the
Yeah.
mediums are narcissistic or anything of that sort. There's a lot of them that are genuinely think that they're helping people,
Yeah.
whether, and I have a line where I believe that a lot of the more mom and pop kind of psychics, they really do think that they have powers. Now,
Mhm.
they don't test themselves. They don't know anything about cold reading, hot reading. That's not even phrases they even know. They've bought into it. They bought workshops, they bought the books, they
Mhm.
have the mentoring, and now they are doing this gig. And what happens is their sitters who are very motivated to have a really good reading, they give them so much feedback about how amazing their reading was that they start to believe their own their
Yeah.
own reading. So they
Yeah.
tend to convince themselves that they're actually psychics. So
Mhm.
so in a lot of ways, some of these lower level mediums are actually being preyed upon as well. It's the higher
They
level,
are.
yeah, the
Yeah.
higher ones
Yeah.
like Sylvia Brown, Thomas John, Tyler Henry,
Mhm.
Matt Frazier. They know damn well what they're doing, and we know
Yeah.
that. Teresa Caputo, all of those. They're different kinds of
Mhm.
worlds, more or less.
Yeah, no, they get like they get charged thousands of dollars for all these workshops and stuff where they're pretty much just taught Barnum statements and things like that. Like they're taught to repeat Barnum statements and the Rainbow Ruse stuff, and then they
Mhm.
convince themselves that they're psychic because of that,
Right.
right? So
Yeah, and
yeah,
you get some
yeah,
feedback telling people how amazing you are. They're
mm-hmm.
convinced. They have a very
Yeah,
low level of what is considered evidence. A lot of them
mm-hmm.
rely on signs, and
Mm-hmm.
no matter how much you explain to somebody that a sign of coins, a flower, a butterfly, a bird, that's not a sign of anything. That's just common Barnum
Mm-hmm.
statements.
Mm-hmm.
But to people who want to believe, who actually need to believe, you can't convince them. They're not going to go.
Yeah.
They're not going to listen to you.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, exactly. And you guys like said that you coined the term grief vampire, right?
Mark did. Yeah, Mark came up
Yeah.
with the term grief
So
vampire.
like I know like I get a lot of comments on my videos too. People like, "Oh, what harm is it doing people if it makes them feel better?" And it's like, "But
Oh my
you
gosh.
obviously
I hear
haven't
that
like
all the time
lost."
too. Let me
Yeah,
get you a
like
list out of how dangerous it is to lie to people who are grieving. Yeah,
mhm.
absolutely. There is no lying to somebody about an important time of their life, recreating memories of a person that you have. If you have a memory of somebody, you're holding on to that memory, and then our memory doesn't work like a VHS or a DVD or a YouTube video where you put it in, you hit play, and then you can go backwards and hit play, and it's always the same. Our memory doesn't work that way. When you play a memory and then you're living in that memory, and then you rewrite it with some new memory, well, then that feels real to people. So what these people
Mhm.
are doing is, in essence, is rewriting people's memories for them. Not only the health, the legal, the and the financial things they're doing for them. It's
Mhm.
absolutely dangerous. It's incredibly dangerous. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
it's
it's a gateway
speculative.
to them to start doing those medical readings and things like that too. Like, because I was doing a little bit of research on Tyler Henry, and I found some stuff where apparently he was doing medical readings on people too, or he has been. I don't know if he's still doing it, but that starts getting really dangerous. You know?
Well, it's
Yeah.
also an absence of medical readings because when somebody says, like today, I just was evaluating Tyler Henry's Live from the Other Side, the third show in his episode. He tells a woman that he asks her about cancer, and he says something about, where is it? Some kind of cancer and some kind of in your lower areas, like ovarian or what else is down there? Colon, something
Cervical
like
and
that, cervical.
colon,
Yeah.
and yeah.
So he
Hmm.
tells her, he says, now you have a sister. He says this to a woman. He says, and you have a sister, right? They already established she had a sister. It wasn't like he knew
Hmm.
it. And she's like, yeah. And he goes, well, I think you need to talk to her about cancer in those areas and to keep that in mind and that she should have that kind of stuff checked out. So now that seems all fine
Yeah.
and well and good. But what ends up happening is if you're the sitter and you really believe in this, I mean, you believe that, maybe you'll go down and get your cancers, your ovarian, your all that, the lower part of your body checked out. But what they might do is they will say, I could put off my mammogram this year because he didn't see anything in the breast area. Or
Hmm.
I've got this cough that's really been bothering me, and sometimes I do cough up some blood, but he didn't see anything in the lung area. He saw something down lower. So I'll put that off. Maybe I'll wait until after Christmas. What
Hmm.
happens is it's just an absence of medical. When Mark and I went to go see Thomas John in 2017 in LA, Los Angeles, and we played roles. We were somebody had written our Facebook pages for us with a certain aim, and in Mark's case, it was heart disease. They had written all over Facebook. Now these are Facebook pages that Mark and I had not looked at, but we were told that Mark needed to get in he was concerned about his heart. They said, you're at the age your dad died at now, and that your dad died of heart disease. And so on Mark's Facebook page, it's not really his Facebook page, it's a pretend Facebook
Hmm.
page. they're commenting, oh, I'm really worried about my heart. I'm going to go get tests done and things like that. So when we went to see Thomas John reading off of those Facebook pages, which is what he did, starts talking to Mark about heart problems and getting tests done. And Mark's like, yeah, I know, I'm really worried about it. So that seems good and well and fine. Except the thing is that Mark had prostate cancer. We didn't know he
Mm,
had prostate cancer. He was at the early stages of prostate cancer whenever we went to that reading. Thomas John didn't see prostate cancer.
yeah.
He didn't see that in 5 years, Mark would be dead from prostate cancer.
Mm,
So when they caught the prostate cancer for my partner, they caught it a couple years later, but it was already more advanced. So
mhm.
that's my point, is that you think that he's telling you to go to the doctor and he's telling you to get these tests done. But in your mind, if you believe, you're saying, I guess I'm okay. I can go for a little bit longer.
Right.
I'm not going to get my prostate checked because he told me to get my heart checked. And so I'll get that done and then I can relax and everything's fine. And so there's an enormous amounts of harm in
Yeah, like
mediumship.
that. I guess because I'm in Canada, I didn't really think about that. That would be more prevalent in the US where you have to pay for your tests and your healthcare, right? So people would be picking and choosing.
Depends on the insurance, but Mark had really
Yeah.
good, but he still
Yeah.
didn't know. There was nothing that was showing. But if this guy's a psychic, he should have been able to tell.
Yeah.
He's in contact with every little detail of our lives that is written on these fake Facebook pages. So
Hmm.
that's just one area. I mean, I've seen lots of readings, hours and hours and hours and hours of readings. I've been to readings, I've gotten readings, I evaluate readings.
Oh, also, and Susan knew James Randi too,
Oh, yeah, I
before
knew
he
him well.
passed as
Yes,
well. Yeah.
Mark and I
Yeah.
did. In fact,
Yeah.
Randy wrote the foreword to Mark's book, Psychic Blues.
Really? Oh,
We
that's
knew
really
him very
cool.
well.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
really
Yeah.
sad when he died, and I miss him all the
Yeah.
time.
It's sad. It feels like there's like still like a hole, like someone hasn't really filled
Right?
on
Somebody's got to
taking
step in, but
people.
I don't
Yeah.
think anybody's going to step in. I think it's going to take a whole crew of people to step into the
I
shoes that
think we're
Randy.
at that point because even like there's some good mentalists out there that I really do appreciate the debunking and stuff they do, but you can tell they've got an ego on them that they don't want to like risk their money to
Right,
take a chance to stand up to people. I've noticed
right. They
they'll
have a
do a
career.
little bit of it, but they don't want to push it too far. They don't want to hop on Larry King live like James used to do, you know?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that's the unfortunate thing because I think mentalists and magicians make the best ones, but I think it's going to take other people this time now, and not just mentalists and
Right.
magicians. So
Well, I'd like to see
yeah,
women, and I want to see
yeah,
more women do this because I think this is a crime on women, and I think that a lot of the mentalists and a lot of the people who do what I do, and I love these people. We're all peers. We love each other. They're wonderful, but they don't get into the weeds like I do. And so it comes down to almost mansplaining, even though they don't overtly say this. It kind of feels like they're like white knights trying to save women because we just can't
yeah.
figure it out for ourselves. So I would like to see a woman step up who is able to
Hmm.
do this kind of thing and take back and say, no, no, I'm tired of you victimizing women. So, be
Hmm.
gone. I'd rather
Yeah,
see,
and that's where like also like for my audience watching, someone in my comments mentioned you and mentioned that you were talking that you would like to see more women in the debunking community.
I wonder who that was.
And if you're watching, because my mind, so I have fibromyalgia, my memory is like half the time I'm like I don't even know what's the worst memory in the world. It's like I remember specific things that are kind of not really important, but then I forget like the really good things that I should be remembering. So anyway, I've forgotten their name because if I don't write it down, I will forget. So if you're if you're watching this, leave a comment so I can
Hi,
remember your
whoever it
name.
was. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it because I'm
Yeah.
enjoying do a talk here for Floor. Yeah, this is great.
As well too, I spoke with I'm horrible with names. The fellow Michael is that his name? The guy who's the editor that you told me?
Oh,
What
Stephen
was
Hupp. Yeah,
Steven,
he's
that's
the
it.
editor
Okay.
for Skeptical Inquirer. Yes,
Yeah,
that's great.
so I'm gonna be
He's
working
excited to meet
on
you.
I'm gonna work on an article in the new year for I want to talk about like there's a big debunking community on YouTube that like doesn't really get involved with Skeptical Inquirer or the Center for Inquiry. Like they're kind of like an insulated community, right? But they're facing issues. And I was going to get you to maybe put a quote too. Like they're facing issues where they're getting copyright claims and they're getting like letters from people that, they try to debunk someone and then they try to go down a legal route that's kind of not really, on the up and up, right? Trying to get their videos taken down. So I'm going to talk about that. And then the other side is their communities all start attacking us too. And there's like this whole toxicity and everything around it. So yeah, I was going to talk about that as well, coming up in an article. Yeah.
Right. That's good. That's valuable. I'm learning about copyright, and I am changing the videos that I'm reviewing completely, so it's fair use. I
Mhm.
have a up and I can't even call it an up and coming psychic. It's a person who has no following whatsoever, but is latched onto or I should say, a producer in Hollywood has latched onto this no name psychic that
Psychic.
nobody would ever heard of before, a medium, and is trying to put out a reality show for this woman. Her name is Tina Mayan Mystic.
Mhm.
She has no following, no nothing. And so it just came across my Facebook feed, and I went through and I had a conversation with the producer, and went through and did one of my videos on her. And he had a cow. He tried to get my video taken down, and YouTube forwarded me the entire conversation with YouTube that the guy had. And so I made a video on that. So I said, they're trying to get this video taken down. There's no way
Mhm.
they can take this video down. He's saying I stole his material off of his website, and none of that's true. So I'm not having problems.
Mhm.
I did have problems with Matt Frazier's, but now that
Mhm.
I'm altering the videos a lot, they
Mhm.
really can't do anything about it. I'm the community. Let me tell you, Fleur, I'm well hated in multiple communities. I've been doing skeptical activism for over 20 years. Only part of it is in the world of psychics.
Mhm.
So the almost every community hates me. A lot of cancer quacks. I've had one try to report me to the FBI. I've had
Really? For what?
yeah, I
The
have
FBI doesn't care.
I've had the UFO community absolutely hates me.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, the UFOs. Yeah, I could see
yeah,
that.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not liked in a lot of the communities, the paranormal
Mhm.
community. And so whenever somebody's going after me on comments and so on, I'm just sad because I think, what a waste. Like you said in your Sylvia Brown video, they're not watching the video. They're just commenting. And
Yeah.
it's just so sad because the information is there for them, and they could be leading a happier, healthier life
Mhm.
if they were just to take on the information. I mean,
Mhm.
going back to even Harry Houdini, this has all been, I'm not saying anything new. I'm just showing the new method, but they're
Mhm.
not, I mean, they'd rather believe. Like I say, some
Yeah,
need to.
they'd rather
It's
not
just,
use any sort of what is it, like critical thinking, you know? Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very sad. And they think they are. And I just think, when they come after me and attack me, it's like, get in line because
Mhm.
you got to get behind the Bigfooters because
Yeah.
everybody can't stand me. So that's all right. It's part of
Mhm.
doing science and trying to be scientific about the way you do things. I work a lot with the community of Center for Inquiry, and there are other people around who do this kind of work that I do. But Kenny Biddle is the lead investigator for the Committee for Skeptical Inquirer, and he is doing an amazing job. He's only been doing
Mhm.
this for a few years, and people really should check out Kenny Biddle.
Yeah,
Plus, there's a
Kenny is
lot of other
good.
people
Yeah.
in other areas. There's like an Australian equivalent to me in some
Mhm.
ways, Richard Saunders, and there's other people who do different kinds of investigations in the paranormal. But I'm spread pretty thin. I run a really powerful Wikipedia project that is teaching people how to edit Wikipedia pages, and we focus on science and scientific skepticism and claims of the paranormal.
Yeah, your Wikipedia project, it's huge. Like for those who don't
Mhm.
realize, when you go to Wikipedia now and you see like controversies or things like that under someone's profile, like they're the
Mhm.
ones pretty much responsible for making sure that stuff goes
Right.
there.
My team is over 100 people. We've written a little over 2,000 Wikipedia articles now, and we
Mhm.
focus on almost half of what we do is in languages outside of English. And
Mhm.
I'm the only team that I know of that trains. So we train and mentor our people, and you can join. You have to contact me, but it's extensive. It takes months to learn to be one of my editors. We focus on, and that's part of the reason why I'm not liked in a lot of the world because if it's your particular pseudoscience, like we might agree on Bigfoot and UFOs, we
Mhm.
can agree on one area, but we can't agree on the other. So they can't see it. The
Yeah.
same logic that they can believe, okay, the earth is not flat and there is no big hairy creatures walking around that are Bigfoot and UFOs are not visiting us and so on. They're like, okay, I got that. But this vaccine, blah, 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 So
Yeah.
it's
It's
scary.
so silly. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
it's
their
like,
cognitive dissonance is tough on them. They just can't.
and you can have belief and still like get along and talk about things but a lot of people who are like those staunch believers in the weird things, like the out there things, they can't accept that someone doesn't believe in something that they do, and then they just will completely have their back up against you.
Right.
Just
They
like
want to.
I can sit and talk to an oh, I'm not saying it right. I can sit and talk to evangelical,
Yeah.
Christian for a bit. I'm fine. I'm not going to get upset, but they're going to get upset with me. But like, I'm not upset if that's what they believe in, but they get real worked up. So
Right. I have very few, believe it or not, I have very few interactions with people who are believers, except in the psychic world, because a lot of women will write to me because they have questions about it when they're starting
Mhm.
challenge their beliefs. But as far as the other world, I have almost no interest and I have almost no engagement with them. Because once they're already in that camp, you can't
Mhm.
they can't get if they have to get themselves out of it. I am not going to be
Yeah.
able to talk anybody out of it. So I teach my people on my teams
Mhm.
that walk away from all those arguments. Do not argue with
Oh
trolls.
yeah. Don't
Just,
argue
just,
with anyone
just
online. No,
don't do
that's
it.
not worth it.
Use your time, invest your time wisely, and
Yeah.
actually get the other things
It's about
done.
your time. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it's
That's why I
your
like,
blood pressure is going to go up. It's no good.
yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
Mm,
like I don't argue with anyone in the comments of my videos that seem argumentative, because I'm like, it's gonna go nowhere, and this is an internet like argument, which means they're just gonna keep it's
right. And
never gonna
besides, they
change
didn't watch your
anything.
video in the first place because if so, they would have
Exactly.
they've known
Yeah.
about the words that you put in there to say the things you tell people to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that little. I think it's clever. But yeah, if you watch this video, make sure you answer this question. Do it in
Yeah.
the comments. That way I know you've hit this far in the video.
It's funny because, like, on the John Edwards one is what I did it on, and, like, I've noticed there's way less comments on that one than on the Sylvia one, which have been filled with people I know didn't watch the video because they comment something, I'm like, "I answered that in the video, and if you watched it, you would have
Mhm.
known I answered it, and then I know you didn't." Like,
It
you
happens to
guys
me
tell
all
on
the time.
yourself because I answer your questions in the video, and I can tell you haven't watched it,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
It happens to me constantly. People will, with the seatbelt psychic, this
Mhm.
guy's getting in a car, driving a car in LA with somebody in the back. He starts talking to him about their dead people. And I know darn well that these are actors and
Yeah.
they're people that they knew ahead of time. And I explain multiple ways, showing images, explaining how I know this. And I've interviewed people who were in the back of the car, yet people will still say, oh no, no, it's an Uber. And you're like, right. It's an Uber that
Yeah.
has like
Yeah.
9 camera angles on it. From the top, you can see the person walking up to the car, opening the door, getting in. You can see the side angle. You know how many cameras are on that car? And then
Mhm.
I show screenshots from one of his videos that shows the cameras mounted.
Oh,
And they're
really? So you can,
huge.
like, see them just everywhere.
They're huge. They're these big cameras with a lens at least this big
Oh
staring at you.
gosh.
And
Yeah.
he mentioned it in one of his videos, one of his one of the TV shows he did. And I'm thinking, no, how do you get into a car with all these cameras, top, sides? No, that's not an Uber. And you get in,
Mhm.
you sit down, you put your seatbelt on, and he never once says confirms where you're going. Like, oh, so
Oh,
I'm
he
dropping you
doesn't.
off at the
Okay.
airport.
I haven't watched him.
No, they just get in the car and they go for a ride. And
I
it's
seen your
always the same
special
ride.
on your, like, operation or whatever. I seen someone do a
It was
video
so much
talking about your
fun.
operation, but yeah,
You know,
I never
during the
watched him 'cause there's so many
during the
psychics.
pandemic,
Is
we did
like,
that.
people are always like, "Did you watch this person? Have you watched this person?" Like, they ask me in the comments. I'm
Too
like, "You
much
know how many fake psychics there are?" Like, I don't watch them
time.
all. I'm sorry, but
And they're all it's like, "Okay, I'm watching this psychic somebody recommends," and you're like, "Well, how is this different from the last one I went?" It's
yeah.
why do you keep suggesting new psychics for me to look at when they're really all kind of the same? I mean, they have their
They
nuance
are.
things, but
Yeah.
if you see a Sylvia Brown, you've seen a John Edward, they're kind of the
Mhm.
same. Tyler Henry is different from Sylvia Brown in a lot of ways. He's a new generation. My boyfriend
Mhm.
called Tyler Henry a fuzzy sweater psychic, which means like the boy next door, the sweetness and
Oh, yeah.
sugar. and, the kind of guy
Mhm.
who would pack your groceries and walk your dog for you. But Sylvia Brown was this other rude shotgun type, very, very
Mhm.
aggressive. And that was a different kind of world. And John
Yeah.
Edward is more of the Sylvia Brown type. He's not quite as rude, but it's the same
Mhm.
kind of thing. It's like there's nuance to it over time. But
Yeah,
rather,
so I was gonna do a just a video on like the TikTok psychics, like the social media psychics. And I think Tyler Henry kind of falls in with that, except he got a whatever TV deal, you know?
hard deal when he was
Um
19.
yeah, but it's like he fits the same image as these like, hip new young psychics or whatever, right? And
Mhm.
then just like I told you, I'm just nicknaming them fast food psychics on the TikTok.
I
'Cause they'll
like
they'll
that.
message you and they'll be like, "I'll do a reading for $5." I'm like, "Yeah, this is fast food
Yeah,
psychic
I
readings."
never thought of that before. I really like that term. I'm gonna start using it. Did you come up with that?
Yeah, yeah, you could use
Okay,
it
I
for
will
sure.
credit you that because I love that, fast food psychics. I don't really deal with those too much because I want somebody who has a history, and those a lot of them, those TikTok type, they're just throwing up a video and they're just winging it, and they get
It's
better at it
funny,
as
yeah, when you look into them, like, you go back into their account and they didn't talk about psychic stuff. They you can see that they've tried different angles to become TikTok famous, right? And it's just like they all have done it, and it's so funny. It's like they're all just trying whatever they can try, you know? I like the one guy, I think I mentioned I don't remember his name, I have it saved on my TikTok, but he was doing that offer for, like, $1,000, like, medium award or whatever, if they can, like
Justin Dean,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Force
yeah.
Justin Dean. Yeah, he's a friend of
Yeah,
mine.
and he's on TikTok, and he was doing that award too, right? And there's a iffy TikTok psychic. I'll probably actually feature her on,
Yeah,
but
I'm
that's
glad
a
you're
different
doing
video.
this because I do not have patience. There's too many of them, and they're every day. There's
That's why I'm gonna do like it's a compilation. That's the thing. Everyone wants me to do like a separate video on all these people. I'm like, listen, it gets boring after a while because they're all just doing the same thing. So I'm gonna throw them all together into like a compilation kind of deal. Maybe we focus on one person, but it like ties into all of them, right? Tyler Henry, I think is a different story, which is where I'm going with the angle with this
with
video.
then Teresa Caputo or then the TikTok
Just in
people.
general, like Tyler Henry, like I find it fascinating that he's clearly hot reading and everyone believes him. Like why? Like
Well, not everybody believes him. Yeah,
one of my questions too. I know we've talked about it a little bit as well in chat, but you're in California, so you see things like I don't normally see. But you said that you've seen before, like in newspapers where they're doing hiring for actors to play psychics and things. So like, there's a chance that some of these people might just be being sort of hired for this role and taught and groomed into it, and they're fake from the beginning. Just someone like their charisma or whatever and hires them to be this psychic, right? And like
right.
with Tyler Henry, you were saying like he's got this like boy next door kind of look,
Yeah.
right? That's different. Yeah.
Right. Now, and I couldn't find the when I was talking to you about Tyler Henry, I couldn't find it. So I can't verify this completely, but I do know what I've been told is that Tyler Henry, they were looking for a teenager. They wanted the teenage medium, the Hollywood teenager kind of medium kind of thing. And so they were looking around for somebody and they found Tyler Henry and he was working in a smallish city at a like a new age shopper who's doing readings. He wanted to do
Mhm.
hospice, and he's a very caring kind of person. He seems to be. He wanted to
Mhm.
do hospice, and he wanted to deal with reaching out to people who had unalived
Yeah.
themselves. I
Unalive
think
themselves.
what they
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
on YouTube. And so he they found him, and it's always been my opinion and Mark's opinion is that they recruited him because he didn't have any baggage. He had nothing to haunt him. Get it?
Yeah.
There was nothing in the past. He was brand new. So they
Yeah.
kind of created him. And if you watch him, I think of him as like a one guy boy band, where he uses a lot of different methods from a lot of different mediums, the
Mhm.
psychometry, the automatic writing. And oh my gosh, just the other day I watched him do a mentalism trick. I thought I was going to just
Oh,
die in
really? What did
yeah,
he
it was the
do?
most
Which one?
it was this live from the other side thing. He asked he I couldn't even believe it. He asked the person on the couch, there's five people on the couch, if they had a D name, D, and he's
Mhm.
and like David. And then somebody goes, "Yeah, we have a David." Duh. And so he goes, wait a minute. And he goes and gets in his pocket and he pulls out a paper and he unfolds it and he had written the word David on. He goes, see? And I'm like,
Really? Oh my
I said,
gosh.
OMG, you got to be kidding me. He's the one who planted the word David to these people, and he wrote David on a piece of paper, put it in his pocket, and he pulled it out at the right time. And then later on, I couldn't believe it.
Oh
Such a
gosh.
bad mentalism effect. And then later on in the reading, he's doing something with he finally gets this woman to say who her brother was. And she says, his name is Gary. And he goes, oh, Gary. And he gets all excited. And I thought, oh, I bet he's got a piece of paper folded up in his shoe. And he's going to pull it out. He's going to open it up. It's going to say Gary on it. And then he's kind of like, oh, Gary. And I'm thinking, you should have wrote Gary down, put it in your other pocket, or you should have put, because it was just like, oh, so that's what I mean about Tyler Henry. He's not, he pulls from here and then there and then there and here. And he's like made up. He's like
Mhm.
somebody either trained him to do this, they groomed him to do this and trained him, or he's taken it on himself like, okay, let me watch how so and so is doing readings. Oh, okay, I'll
Mhm.
take that. It's just
Mhm.
it's so obvious.
Even just on YouTube, there's like people training you how to do it, you know?
Oh, I'm sure
Yeah.
there's somebody you could pay who will teach you mentorship.
And like it doesn't make a difference to their career. Like you can know these people and they still maintain their career.
Yeah, like I said,
But
South. I did a huge article during the pandemic on did anybody predict the pandemic?
mhm.
And so what I did is my team and I went through all of the social medias and the websites we could find for all the big name psychics, and we made screenshots of them canceling their events. And John Edward was supposed to be in Australia. He usually goes there a couple times a year,
Yeah.
and he had to cancel his whole tour because he couldn't get into Australia. And it was
Mhm.
interesting because I have screenshots of it that'll say, canceled. And I'm thinking, how would you not know this? How would you not know there's this giant pandemic that's going to close countries, New Zealand, Australia, you couldn't go. And
Mhm.
so, and then Teresa Caputo and others would say, like on the website, we'll let you know when it's safe to come back. We'll let you know. And you're like, well, why wouldn't you know now? Just tell
Yeah.
us now. And then Teresa Caputo, I have a screenshot. This is all in Skeptical Inquirer, you guys. She's got a screenshot that says canceled, and then she reschedules it, and then has to cancel it again.
Oh, really? Oh,
Like,
jeez.
really? How can these psychics? I can't. It's hard to believe that people still they just my head explodes thinking biggest. I mean, it's a worldwide pandemic. How many millions of people probably died from this? We don't know. And their lives were changed completely. Economies crashing, all this stuff. No one predicted.
Oh yeah, it was like Sylvia Brown on the Montel show recommended that people invest in real estate right before that real estate market collapse in 2008 or whatever. And
She
it
had a
was
great record, didn't she?
yeah.
She was something else. Oh my gosh. We
Yeah.
started out with Sylvia Brown. That was the big dog when we were in 2009 when Mark Edward and I got together. We did some
Mm.
protests, did some pretty fun stuff with Sylvia Brown. And when she died, Mark held a séance for her. And
Oh
there's a video.
jeez.
And it's we put a blender because she was selling blenders with Montel towards the end of her career. And so
Was
he's
she
doing
really? I wasn't paying attention to her at the end there. Was
a
she doing
a blender, and he's putting like eye of newt and cigarette butts and all this stuff in the
Oh.
blender. And then as the blender turns on, because he's channeling her, and the blender's grinding the sound, and he's like, Sylvia, Sylvia, it's hilarious. So he did a seance. It's called Seance for Sylvia, and you can find it on YouTube. It's
Oh
it's on my
jeez.
playlist. It's hilarious because Mark Edwards doing like Ouija board and slate reading because he was an expert on Victorian seance. That was his thing. So,
Yeah, I find the
like,
Victorian stuff fascinating. It's making a comeback, except in the paranormal community. You probably don't know this, but like I love the ghost hunting community and paranormal investigations. Right?
mhm.
People are doing people are doing stuff from the Victorian era seance times, and they're trying to say it's real testing for real ghosts. Like they're doing table tipping again. I'm
I'm
like,
serious.
that's not
Are
that
you
was a
serious?
trick.
Are you serious?
Yeah, yeah. This is like the paranormal investigation community is really
Oh,
taking a nosedive.
I love I love seance. I adore it. I'm friends with the mentalist community. I go to a mentalist conference in Dallas, Texas every year. They do seance. That's their thing. My house has got seance stuff all over it because of Mark Edward. That was his
Mhm.
thing. And I love all that stuff, but it's an act.
Yeah, it should not be taken as a
It's an art
serious
form.
thing.
It's like
Yeah,
drag, it's an art form. It's
exactly.
beautiful. It's neat. It's if it's done well,
Yeah.
but table tipping? I mean, what are they going to swallow cheesecloth next and let it and then vomit it up
Oh
like they used
God.
to in the Victorian?
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they do that soon too.
I have no hope. Some days I get up in the morning, I think, why am I doing this? Why am I've spent hours doing these things and investigating, and then I get like
Well,
10 hits, and then some psychic comes and does something and they get, thousands of hits, and you're like,
it's like it's important for us to keep doing it, even though like I know it's a lot of work, and yeah, once in a while like you will get people that convert and realize the truth, but it's like in my last video that I just uploaded last night, I said like for every piece of incorrect information out there, we need to write a piece of correct information. Otherwise, our libraries are going to be filled with lies. So yeah, it's work that seems like it goes unappreciated, but it's necessary to fight off the evil of misinformation,
I just don't
unfortunately.
think I
So
could not fight in some way. That's how I feel. I have to do
yeah,
something, even if it's just a
yeah.
little this. But I don't have people convert. People will tell me, I understand what that psychic is doing now. And then they
Mhm.
say, show me another psychic, what's the good one? Which one's really talking to the dead? And you're like, none of them are. No, no,
Yeah,
no. Give me the good
yeah.
one. No, my friend Moonlight
Mhm,
Sinatra is she's really great. She's so amazing.
mhm.
She's always getting it right. And you're like, Moonlight Sinatra? Who is that? Oh, she's somebody on TikTok or whatever. And you're like, really? Has she found any missing people? Did she predict a pandemic?
Mm,
What are you talking about? And once you've had a reading by somebody, the second reading is hot reading because they
mhm,
already know who you are. So
mhm,
and they don't grasp that. So if you have a reading, it's like you go in and get your hair cut and you walk in and they say, "Oh, I know exactly what you want." And they do it just the way you want it. Or you go into a restaurant and you become a regular there. They know what you're going to order without having to ask you. They're not
mhm.
psychic. They're just paying attention. So
Yeah.
that's hot
Mhm,
reading. To go a second time to a psychic, a third time to a psychic,
mhm.
they're
Yeah,
just repeating what they already know.
yeah,
So
yeah,
of course they're
exactly.
accurate. You
Yeah,
told
yeah.
the last time you were there. You're
Yeah,
just
I get asked that too, and it's like, well, I'm gonna be kind of giving my thoughts on like psychics and stuff in my Q&A video at the end of December. This will come out in the new year though, our discussion with Tyler Henry. But it's like I am still a believer. I know you're not completely, but the thing is we can talk
not
and still get
completely at all.
along. It's like we can talk, we can still get along, we can talk about things, like it's fine. But then it's like if I try to sit down and talk to a full-blown believer who doesn't want to listen, it's like we can't even have a conversation. It's like,
Mm,
we
agree.
can, the people that are skeptical are still okay to talk to people that have a bit of belief. Like, they try to act like we try to push them out of every conversation, but they're the ones that push us out. Like we're willing to talk to one another and we're fine to talk to each other. It's just they tend to be the more aggressive side. I've noticed, right? Especially the paranormal community on YouTube too. They're very aggressive.
Well,
The
yeah.
believers.
You should talk to some UFO people or the flat earthers. Boy, they're really bad. They're really entrenched. It becomes a
Mhm.
religion in a certain way. And
It
same with
does,
really
yeah.
competing with their religious beliefs. Some people are become less and less religious over time,
Mhm.
but that same whatever it is in our brains that make us want to be, give ourselves over to our higher power or something.
Mhm.
It's changed from a belief in a deity to people, aliens on another planet that are coming to visit
Mhm.
us. It's and if you attack or if you even suggest that it might not be real, then you're attacking them, and that's all they see. So that's why I don't
Yeah.
really have conversations with people about it because I don't think you can fix any of the problems we're having now
Mm.
with my videos and so on. All I can do is the way I see myself as a pre-bunker.
Mhm.
I'm giving them an inoculation against it so that when you are in a point where you feel like you might be going down that path where you have a death in your family, you're in grief, you're lonely or whatever it is, and this is
Mhm.
enticing to you, then you might start seeing the warning signs and you can say, oh, wait a minute, I think I saw a video on this. Some years ago I saw this woman and she was talking about this, and this kind of sounds like the same thing. It's like a
Yeah.
romance scam. The same thing. If you kind of give them a little bit, that there are people out there who are pretending to be somebody else and they're not,
Mhm.
and you give them a little bit then maybe they will see the warning signs, the red flags, and back
Mhm.
off. And that's how I look
Yeah.
at myself.
My big thing is like you guys are sinking your money into these people and they're not being truthful with you. Like, and there's some people I talk to too in the comments and like, oh, my mom gave her whole life savings to this psychic at the
Right.
end. And it's like, that's the kind of stuff that happens. Like, you can say, oh, there's nothing wrong with people getting a little bit of relief from grief. They don't, though. These people milk them of all their money. Like, they're not just after giving someone one moment or something. If you'll come back and give them money, they'll gladly have you back until you have no money left. That is how they are. They're not good people,
I've talked to
right?
some grief therapists, and especially the mom and pops. I don't know about these fast food psychics, but the mom and pops kind, they want to build a relationship with you. And
Mhm.
so what they do is they want people to remain stuck in their grief. So
Yeah.
they don't want you to move on. They might slightly suggest that you can, but it's almost like, throwing a bone to somebody like, oh yeah, you're going to find another man in your life, whatever. But whatever you do, your husband's right there watching you, and he likes how the color of the house. He likes that you have the setup that way. He's watching you, he's having ice cream with you. Whenever that song is playing, he's there dancing with you. It's a feeling that this patriarchal, the spirit is always there watching you. The dead person's always watching you. And
Mhm.
so it's very difficult to move on with your life. Don't sell his
Yeah.
guitar. Don't take the shoes out from underneath the bed. Don't, these things, because they don't say don't sell his guitar. They say your husband is telling me that he likes that you have the guitar right there where he can see it and honor him.
Mhm.
So the way they say it. So in other words, don't move that guitar. Don't remove his hat. Don't get rid of his clothes, because that's he likes that. So it's hard to move on with your life. Yet
Mhm.
if you're seeing an actual licensed grief counselor,
Whoops.
they're going to give you ways of
Like
dealing
working through it.
with
Yeah.
yeah, so you can
Yeah.
work through it, because grief is a part of life. I mean, death
Mhm.
is life. And so they teach you how to do this kind of stuff. But a lot of the psychic mediums that I'm dealing with, they don't want you to move past, because then you're going to
No.
go on and have a happy life. You're not going to see them anymore.
Yeah. Exactly.
Why
Exactly.
go? It's very sad.
It really is. Yeah, like, I'll tell you a story, because like I told you, I grew up in the circuit, right? My mom was a
Mhm.
professional psychic, but my mom, like, actually had morals and, like, she didn't do well as a psychic, but because she wasn't doing everything all these other psychics were doing. Like, she wouldn't tell people bad things about themselves. She would actually help them move on from grief. Like, she would actually try to counsel them, but she ended up actually taking a course as a counselor too to help people, right? So she was doing that and she didn't want people to stick with her. So yeah, she wasn't rich because she actually had some morals. But I'll tell you a story. So this is where I seen like a lot of fakery stuff growing up. So there's a woman and I grew up with her always being around. And one day she ended up getting married to a Aboriginal person here. She took his last name. So, but she's not Aboriginal at all. She took his last name, then started going to a tanning booth, then started dyeing her hair black. And then she divorced him a month later, kept his name, and then started selling herself as an Aboriginal shaman who was doing psychic readings for people. And then she would tell people that they have curses on them and only she could break the curse. And she would sell them curse breaking kits and make them
Mhm.
keep coming back. Like, she is the most scummiest of all psychics I've ever seen, to be honest. Like, she would like people would leave her readings like traumatized. So I was going around my city like telling people, no, she's not even Aboriginal. She literally, the tribe that he's from was suing her to get her to remove his name from her name because she
Wow.
just married him to take his name. That was it. She didn't even love him or anything. And I'm like, this lady, like, man, she was conniving. And then she started trying to hold like this big psychic festival and stuff, and people were going, and I'm like, don't support this woman. Like, she's lying to you about everything. It's like these people will like they have no shame. They just want to make money. They don't care like what they're doing to hurt people, right?
Right.
And that's where like people say, oh, well, what are you doing? Like, let people have their moment of relief from grief and blah, blah. It's like, it's not a moment. It's not the way it is. These people are like, they're not good people, and they're just out to rip people off and make money,
Some are. That's right.
Yeah.
Some think they're helping. Some might actually do some sort of help.
Yeah, there's some that like, do believe they're psychic, and there's some that are trying to help, and those usually are the ones that aren't going to have a TV show, right? The ones
Exactly. Yeah.
the ones that have a TV show have no soul. So
I've seen some psychics that aren't, they don't charge a lot or whatever, but they're getting payment in another way. I think some of these mediums enjoy the ability to tell people what to do, to govern the other women's lives, to come in as an authority. So it's not about money to some psychics. It is about power over others. Maybe their kids moved on and they don't have anybody to bully anymore, so they want to find another outlet. And I think that's another possibility. And they get gifts in other ways too. They're not lonely anymore because they're able to go onto Zoom and they can have their readings and people constantly praise them. It's not all about money. But what you're talking about is the world of the grifters. I have a really good friend. His name is Nygar, who does that work. He does
What's his
people.
name? Sorry.
Nygar, Nygard, Bob Nygar. He has a Wikipedia article.
Oh yeah, I think I read Bob. Oh yeah.
He wears a fedora. He looks like a
Yeah.
So he's the type of person who does that. He deals with the legal aspects of it. What you're talking about, the people who put curses, where they take the egg and they put they say bring in an egg and then it's switched, and then the egg that the person, they rub it on them, they say I'm taking the evil out of you, and then they crack the egg and all this awful gooey stuff comes out. The egg's been changed for an egg that has gooey awful blood stuff in it. It's happens to a lot of the indigenous people, the people in my area. It preys on like a voodoo-y kind of
that's like a hoodoo kind of stance.
You go in for $5 reading, and then they say, I see a curse on you. I need to buy a candle to have a special prayer for you. And then the candle's going to cost $50. And then I need you to take your money and bundle it up and put it under your bed. And then we're going to try to get it, the curse away from it. Give me the money. I will uncurse it. And then I'll give it back to you. But they give it back to them. They don't look in the bag. It's just paper. That's the world I don't deal with. But my friend Bob Nygaard does that. But that is another angle of psychic mediums, psychic work that, like I said, that's not my area. I know of it. I understand it, but that's not my niche.
I find the grifting stuff like fascinating. I think like a lot of people do go into stuff knowingly and like with a plan to grift. Even some of these like religious people or whatever, these evangelical people. Like,
don't get me started.
Yeah, there's someone actually asked me to look into. Let me bring what's his name? Something Carson or something. He's like a religious TikToker or something.
No, I have a TikTok account. Guerrilla Skeptics are on
my Carson?
Guerrilla Skeptics, but I don't really spend much time on TikTok. It's like you get on there and it's like a hole that just takes you in vortex, and then hours come back and you're like you wake up like, what happened? Where have I been?
It's like so bad. Oh, here. Okay. It's Billy Carson. All right. So like some people have asked me to make a video about him, and I kind of want to after looking into him. So what he's done is he's taken these, there's like these emerald tablets that are from like, they're not like real, but like someone made them up a while ago. Then they're from like ancient Egypt, and they talk about the real Bible and all this crap. And he's just making stuff up off the top of his head. And he went into like a debate with like an actual scholar. Like he's a religious scholar and he knows everything about every version of the Bible. Like he knows his stuff. And the guy just schooled him. And then this Carson guy then served him papers and was suing him and trying to get him to remove any videos and clips of this like debate that they were in. And he's just been spiraling ever since he got like outed, right? And I'm
video.
Just like,
I want to see it.
When like a fellow Christian takes down a fellow Christian, that's when you know that they were really bad. Like when they get outed by their own people, that's when you know that they were doing real bad stuff, right? So I'm like, I'm kind of tempted, but then I'm also not a Christian, so I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to touch that too. So
fun.
I get a lot of religious people in my comments, and I just ignore them because I'm like, I'm not going to engage with this.
talking about the sitters. They want to say how stupid they are.
They're
You need to
not.
cut
No.
slack. I mean, some
Yeah.
people are challenged and have some sort of problems. I mean, I see that, but a lot of these people are in grief. They may have not
Mm-hmm.
have fun for this kind of thing normally, but at certain periods of their life, they're either, like I say, very lonely, very vulnerable, or in grief, or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
then, if you have been raised in a religion, if you've been raised in a religion that believes in life after death, demons, angels, all that kind of stuff, and that you're going to die, and you're going to live in another world, whatever your religious belief is, then having somebody who says they can communicate with that other world, that's just a baby step. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, if you're already okay with that, then somebody saying, you know what, I can communicate with those loved ones. I see images and blah blah blah. It's very convincing, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not that person's fault because they're raised that way. That's how their whole life world is. It's like trying to talk somebody who eats meat. That's like a normal part of their life. They go and they have, they hunt and they do these things, and they eat meat, and it never would dawn on them that there are people who don't eat meat. And so
Mm-hmm.
if you bring that up to them, they're like, well, what is this thing you're talking about of not having meat? How silly is that? It's just a world you're in, and it's your whole
Mm-hmm.
world is associated with it, like bowling or something. Your family's always bowled, and they go bowling. Everybody has their own bowling ball and bowling shoes, and everybody bowls. And then if you run into somebody who doesn't bowl, you're like, what kind of person are you? What do you mean you don't bowl, or you don't,
Yeah.
whatever it is? And so you have people who are who will prey on you for that. And I mean prey, Prey, not Pray.
Yeah.
If you have a belief structure that this is already ingrained in you, why is it strange that somebody
Mm-hmm.
could talk to dead? It takes an awful lot of your character and trust, and to get out of that and say, I think I'm going to look this up and see if this is real.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the information's out there. So in a way, it's willful ignorance if you don't look it up,
Mm-hmm.
because it's there. I mean, James Randi and, like I say, Harry Houdini and lots of people before me have been doing these, explaining the tricks of the medium world, the mediumship world. So if you, in this world of 2024, almost 2025, you can't figure out how to find a video or a article or something on
Mm-hmm.
how this works or how it appears to work, at a certain point, I do have no sympathy for you. But in another way, I think I have a lot of sympathy for these women, because I know that this is their
Yeah.
world.
And that's the thing, they don't seek out the article or the video or anything to explain it because they want it to be true because they're in a bad spot in their life. And that's I do get comments like that. Maybe there's people like, oh, they're so dumb. It's like they're not dumb. They're in a
No,
bad spot. And until
sometimes, yeah,
until you've experienced grief and real crisis in your life, which I can tell you haven't based on your comment, like you're just not going to understand and be able to sympathize with it.
yeah,
It's like the people that just call them dumb, just like, I'm like, you haven't experienced real strife. Like when
mhm,
you've experienced real strife, then that's when you look at these fake psychics too, as someone who has experienced it, and you're like, these people are taking advantage of these poor people at their like worst moments.
right.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
That is exactly what's going on. For people who tell me what's the harm,
It's
it's a
very
lot of
harmful.
harm, very
Yeah. Yeah.
harmful, and I find it very manipulative and cruel. I think it's
Hmm.
cruel what the mediums do to these poor women. And then, like I say, they prey on them to get them into mediumship classes too, and they
Hmm.
guilt them into it. I have one video out there on my channel that, the medium is telling the woman, spirit wants you to come back to class. You haven't been coming to mediumship class. And she says, oh, well, she's like, I got young kids and blah, blah, blah. And then they say, well, your dad wants you to come back
Oh,
to start taking your
jeez.
classes again. And dad's dead.
Yeah.
So they're guilting these people into, coming back to classes and so on. I think it's highly offensive. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean by some of these people are actually being preyed upon. And then
They
also
are.
some of these people,
Mhm.
a lot of the TikTokers, I wouldn't be surprised, especially during the pandemic, they're desperate.
They are. Yeah.
They have no income, and this is cash.
Hmm.
So they have no other way of making income. They've got to keep the roof over their heads. They're willing to do whatever they have to do. I
Hmm.
mean, it's a way of making a lot of cash, and they can
Hmm.
tell themselves, I'm helping people heal.
Yeah, they try to reason it with themselves too. Yeah. There's one TikTok psychic, and this where I'll probably like throw her into the video. She's like actually created this whole conspiracy. There's like this murder that happened on this university campus. I don't know if you've heard of this psychic, but she created this whole conspiracy that this teacher is the one who arranged it because the student caught the teacher having an affair with someone. Like all this stuff is made up. She just made this up. She's being sued right now by the teacher, right?
This sounds familiar.
I really hope that the lawsuit goes through.
Was it in Texas?
I think it was. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm remembering this now. Yeah, oh, it was a murder that actually happened. Oh, was it the ones that happened in Idaho?
Oh,
Was it those
maybe.
students that were killed on that college campus in Idaho?
It might have
And
been.
and some psychic said that the person who's responsible was a professor that's, I think, in Texas.
It's
And
a
I think
female professor, and they caught her having an affair or some crap. Like she just made it up. Like this person has an alibi. She has nothing to do with these kids. Like,
I
yeah.
think that's the one. I think it's those people in Idaho that still hasn't gone to trial yet. But your heart goes out to these people. If you have a missing child or something happens in your family, some kind of thing, the mediums come out of the woodwork to prey on you.
And that's the thing people don't realize. It happens. Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
And they're meaning because these people become obsessed. A lot of them have some of these mediums have obsessive compulsive issues where they start following the case, and they pick
Oh,
up all the
yeah.
media on it, and they feel like then they go and they dream about it, duh, and they
Mm-hmm.
have a dream, and then they see, oh, I'm seeing the number 7, and I'm seeing some water, and I'm seeing a red car, and so they absolutely believe that they are helping by telling
Mm-hmm.
somebody, I see a red car, the number 7, and some water, and they following the case religiously. And there's nothing you can say to these poor people to tell them you're wasting police time. They're like, no, 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 I had a vision on it. Very sad.
Oh, this chick, she ran off to France. She fled the country.
Oh, the one that well, she didn't have any money probably anyway. So, even if they
She
had,
had TikTok money. That's about it, right? So,
the poor, once you start making these kinds of claims,
mm-hmm.
how do you fight it? And I've been thinking about this too. Whenever a psychic goes on a TV show, I just analyzed Matt Fraser went on CBS this morning, and he's talking to the host. Her name is Gail. I can't think of her last name, but she's a very famous person and newscaster. And so he says,
Mm-hmm.
"Can I tell you whatever I'm seeing?" And she's like, "Okay." And he's like, "Your mom." And he starts talking to her about her mom's death and how her mom, and there was these it was maybe this, and she was having these heart problems, and she thought she could put it off until later, and Gail's just like, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, he could say anything. He could say something really bad. Like he could say something totally BS, even if he believes it or not. And he could say, your mom on her deathbed, she didn't get a chance to tell you this, but she had another child and she gave it up for
Oh,
adoption before you
jeez.
were born. And the moment he says that, there is nothing that reporter will ever be able to do to refute it because nobody's going to believe her. They're all going to say, where there's smoke, there's fire, And once it's out of their mouth, that's it. It's like making an accusation against somebody. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why these famous people allow a psychic, they're trusting the psychic to be able to not sensationalize whatever they're saying. Because if they say it, it's going to be all over, and that psychic's going to be really famous. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
be big news. And so maybe the psychic would do that in order to give themselves publicity, and it ruins the reputation of the person who's enabling them.
Mm-hmm.
The media enables these people. I wouldn't trust them. They do say lots of personal things. I just finished doing this recording today on Tyler Henry. He's got these people on the couch, and he's just telling them all kinds of stuff. And the people, one woman, he said, your sister didn't have any kids, did she? And she goes, yeah, she had kids. She did. And he goes, how many kids did she have? She goes, she had one. He goes, what about Miss? I don't know about that. And then the father-in-law, the brother-in-law, comes out and says she had a lot of abortions though. And I'm thinking, you just
Wow.
person says that on like Netflix on Tyler Henry. It's like
Yeah, it's gonna get
mean.
everywhere.
And
Yeah.
then if it's just Tyler's asking a bunch of questions. He's like, she didn't have any kids, did she? The way he words it, it's a negative, like she didn't have
Mm-hmm.
any, or either way, it sounds like it's right. She's like, yeah, and she had one. He had to ask how many kids, and then this guy's like, oh well, Tyler could have said she's got 2 kids and said, and then you just say, oh, one was a miscarriage
Mm,
or abortion or whatever. And
mm.
it's just going to be like they're out there floating there. But to see people dishing on their family members like that, and you
Yeah.
see them all the time talking about the mental health of their parents, or why would you put that dirty laundry out there like that? Just because you
Yeah.
want the views?
No.
I tell you, there's
No.
a lot out there to want to be famous. They're willing to
Oh
say and
yeah.
do anything.
And that's saying like I feel like there's a lot of people that just don't like people I talk to, they're like, oh well, why would anyone do that? It's like you don't realize how many bad people there are in the world. Like people don't realize how many bad people there are. Like it's probably like a 50-50. People are willing to like step over everyone to get like anything they want in life. Like they're out there. They're out there more than you think. And it's
Yeah.
like just because you're a nice person, you don't understand. Like you can't fathom that somebody could be that mean. It's like they can, like don't put it past people. If they want to be famous, if they want to be rich, they'll do whatever they're gonna do to get it.
In the way, let's take it. Let's just move on. Yep. Step
Yeah,
right over your body. They'll eat your
exactly.
face. That's the way I
Yeah,
think of it. Like a
they
cat's gonna
will.
eat.
Also, before I forget too, do you want to just like plug anything that you want to send people to? I know you have your project, your website, all that sort of stuff.
So you can find out more information about who I am and what I do. I have a nonprofit called abouttimeproject.org. You can find that website. I have a lot of information on there, not only the world of psychics, but also other things, other projects I do. You can find me on all the articles I've written for Skeptical Inquirer on Skeptical Inquirer's website, which is skepticalinquirer.org, and just search for Susan Gerbic. You can find my YouTube channel, which is Psychics Explained, and that's on YouTube. Please subscribe. I would love to have your followers come in and check me out too, because if they're really interested in the world of the psychic in detail, not an
Hmm.
overview of a psychic, but the details of mediumship. And you can find me on Facebook. I'm very approachable. Please friend me on Facebook. You can send me a private message. I'm happy to answer questions or to whatever you have information about. And you can write to me at my email is susangerbic@yahoo.com or gmail.com. There's a lot of ways of getting a hold of me. I'm on Blue Sky, Twitter, X or whatever they're calling it, Reds. I'm all over the place, TikTok. But my team is called Guerrilla Skeptics. And the world of the people who work on the different stings I do, they're called Guerrilla Skeptics. But my Wikipedia project is Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia.
Hmm.
Put Susan Gerbic into your search engine.
Anything, yeah, you'll find. That's
On
how
the
I
screen,
found her. Someone
you'll
gave me your name, and I just googled
find
you.
I'm everywhere all the time,
Yeah.
constantly. Feels like it.
And also, I did read your article too a while back. You're looking for like scientific professionals who want to help with the Wikipedia project as well. So if any you know anyone or are one who want to help out,
Yeah, we are
um,
looking for people to train who have a scientific.
yeah,
Well, I'm looking to train anybody, but if you have a scientific background,
yeah, and
please, and you want to do training, because we need to get those Wikipedia pages on like the hard sciences in great shape. And
mhm.
I don't know anything about fungi or you know, so
Yeah, yeah.
to write Wikipedia pages on hard science articles if you don't have a
Mhm.
good background on it.
And yeah, and anyone, if any you want to offer even just writing skills or whatever, she just needs extra hands. As well, if you go check out her YouTube, she likes it. If you like point out stuff you notice as well that she missed,
Yes.
she likes to have like a collaborative effort where
Mhm.
she goes over like an episode of something and we'll review it together and stuff. So definitely go check out Susan as well for that too.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. It's
Mm.
really been nice. Nice to meet
Yeah,
you.
yeah, it's nice to meet you too. So I
We'll
expect
collaborate.
we'll do some more stuff over time too.
Thank you so much for letting me be on your show and all your my YouTube channel. Subscribe.
Yes, make sure go over and subscribe to
I'd
Susan,
appreciate it.
and thank you for coming on as well.
All right. Thank you so much. It's good to see you.
Yes, yes,
Stay in
good to
touch.
see you too. Yes. Bye.